The drama surrounding Khamzat Chimaev has always been larger than life. From the moment he stormed into the UFC, smashing opponents with frightening efficiency, fans knew he was cut from a different cloth. But this time, it isn't just his fights. Making headlines, it's his words. Chimaev has finally broken his silence, delivering a fiery statement that has shaken the MMA world to its core and caught even Khabib Nurmagomedov by surprise. He isn't just talking about titles, money, or even his next fight. He's setting the stage for something far bigger. A showdown with Islam Makhachev, Khabib's protégé and current lightweight king. And if that wasn't enough to ignite the fire, Chimaev has laid out conditions that make this potential clash sound less like fantasy and more like inevitability. But before we jump into what could be one of the biggest fights in MMA history, let's rewind. The wait is nearly over. UFC 319 is set to unfold at the United Center in Chicago. And after what feels like an eternity, Khamzat Chimaev is stepping back into the octagon. This time, the stakes are higher than ever. This time, the fight is for gold. Chimaev isn't the most talkative fighter outside the cage. In fact, he often lets his fists do the speaking. Yet now, on the eve of what might be his most important fight to date, he has decided to open up. Fans had questions, and for once, Boers had answers. The first issue he addressed was the swirling rumors about retirement. A Brazilian fighter had sparked speculation that Chimaev might walk away from the sport sooner rather than later. But Chimaev wasted no time shutting that down. His response was blunt, almost dismissive. He said it was nonsense. Retirement is not on the table. His reasoning? Not legacy, not greatness, not even glory. For Chimaev, it's simple. He fights for money. I need money, bro, he said without hesitation. This is not enough. The blunt honesty shocked many. At this stage in his career, Chimaev already has the wealth, the cars, the connections, and the recognition that most fighters dream of. Why then continue? Many believed it was about legacy, about etching his name into history as one of the greatest to ever step inside the cage. But Chimaev made it clear, legacy alone doesn't pay. He isn't satisfied with just one title. He wants more. He wants everything, and he has a plan. After this fight, Chimaev intends to drop down and take the welterweight title from Jack Della Maddalena. But he isn't stopping there. Once he's claimed gold at welterweight, he plans to move back up and face the winner of Magomed Ankalaev versus Alex Pereira for a third belt. Champion in 3 divisions, that's the vision. That's the dream. And when Chimaev speaks about it, it doesn't sound like arrogance. It sounds like certainty. He talks of shocking the world, of proving people wrong, of breaking opponents in ways no one else can. In his mind, there can only be one boogeyman in the UFC, and that is him. But then came the statement that truly rocked the fight world. Chimaev announced he wants to fight Islam Makhachev. Even if Islam wins his next bout, Chimaev believes that fight is the fastest route to pound-for-pound supremacy. When asked if a matchup with Makhachev at 170 pounds was possible, Chimaev didn't hesitate. It's the fastest way, he said. If the guy wins, it's the fastest way to get the #1 spot. The problem? The UFC might not agree. Dana White has already teased that if Makhachev wins, the next move would likely be a blockbuster super fight with Ilia Topuria. And while that matchup has its own intrigue, fans can't help but salivate at the thought of Chimaev versus Makhachev. The stakes, the styles, and most importantly, the history make it a dream fight unlike any other, because make no mistake, these two men have history. Back in 2021, tensions quietly began to simmer between Chimaev and Khabib's camp. It started with a social media storm sparked by Chechen leader Ramzan Kadyrov, who boldly claimed that Khabib was nothing more than a UFC project, carefully protected by matchmakers. The real future, he said, was Chimaev. The comments. Boers added fuel to the fire, writing, "If needed, we'll smash Khabib too." Khabib, ever composed, responded with calm dignity. He's allowed to say what he wants. If he feels that way, let him say it. But the damage was done. Fans swarmed Chimaev, taunting him with the claim that Khabib would smash him. Chimaev never wanted to back down, fired back, "Nobody smashes me. I smash everyone." He later clarified that he had no real beef with Khabib, that he respected and admired him, and eventually even apologized. Manager Ali Abdelaziz confirmed that everything had been squashed, but the cracks were already there. Things escalated again in 2022 at UFC 280, when Makhachev submitted Charles Oliveira to claim the lightweight crown. That night, Chimaev got into a physical altercation with Khabib's cousin, Khabib Nurmagomedov, cageside. Once again, tensions were quelled thanks to Khabib and Kadyrov stepping in. But the idea was planted. The thought of Chimaev facing Khabib's team wasn't just fantasy anymore. It was possible. So what would happen if Khamzat Chimaev and Islam Makhachev actually fought at welterweight? On paper, the size difference alone is staggering. Chimaev is 6'2" with a 75-inch reach, a man who looks more like a natural middleweight than a welterweight. Islam, by contrast, stands 5'10" with a 7-inch reach. He's big for lightweight, but in the welterweight division, he'd be giving up significant size and power. Stylistically, Makhachev's grappling is world-class. His jiu-jitsu is slick, his submissions sharp, and his control suffocating. But he isn't Khabib. He doesn't smother and drown opponents with relentless ground and pound the way his mentor did. Instead, he hunts for finishes. Against fighters like Volkanovski and Dustin Poirier, he struggled to end things early and had to dig deep. Yes. He eventually submitted Dustin, but not before taking some shots. Chimaev, on the other hand, is chaos personified. His pressure is relentless, his wrestling brutal, his ferocity unmatched. Few fighters can even take him down, let alone hold him there. On the feet, the advantage swings heavily in Chimaev's favor. Makhachev is technically sound, improving with every fight, but he has never faced anyone with Chimaev's size, reach, and sheer power. It's a clash of styles, of legacies, of two titans colliding in a way that would truly break the internet. But while Chimaev's ambitions are stealing the spotlight, Khabib's recent words about Islam Makhachev have added another layer of drama. Speaking at a press conference, Khabib offered rare insight into what he believes is the right path for his protégé. He said Islam has maybe a year and a half, 2 years at most, left at the top. By 35, Khabib believes, the body simply doesn't recover the same way. The chin fades, the hunger wanes, and fighters risk overstaying their welcome. When you become 35, you need to stop, Khabib said bluntly, because when you don't finish, somebody will finish you. These are heavy words coming from a man who himself retired at 32, undefeated and untouchable. For Khabib, the key is walking away before decline sets in.